Hey guys, and welcome back to some more Factorio. We are here in our building big factory, I guess is what I'm calling it. I'm not completely set on that name yet, but that's all that comes to mind right now. So I've done a bit of work off screen, maybe 20-30 minutes or so. I researched automation so that we can start using factories this episode. And I hooked up our coal and I set up our copper smeltery over there as well, as you can see. And I actually think this design looks pretty cool on the map. So we'll head over there, and I would like to start getting into the science stuff this episode, unless we run into any problems. And again, I want to apologize. I probably sound kind of like stuffy. It's because I'm still sick. Or at least like I have a head cold or something. It's really frustrating, but not much I can do. Anyway, so I set this up. I only did 8 total because we don't need as much copper early game. Although we might, because these ratios have changed, so it's possible. So this is all set up, and I had a Mad Zuri comment on the first video, giving some tips and stuff about smelting and suggestions on how to get full compression, and we kind of went back and forth and stuff. I definitely trust his opinions because he's like a super expert on the game. So there's several ways he mentioned. He said this is not really the best. You can't actually get full compression type of deal doing this, but I did ask, and kind of what I suspected is what will work mostly is what we can do is just combine these two lines and like split or compress them into one. And obviously that's not going to be the best. We will modify it as we go. I'm apparently out of belts completely. And what's going to happen here is this is iron and copper, but as we expand, what's going to happen is my plan is to have 4 iron and 4 copper smelters, and we're just going to go down this way. So the first 4 will be iron, the second 4 will be copper, and it will go down. I don't know where our main bus is starting. Probably, well, it can start really anywhere past here, but we want to make sure we leave room for smelters, so the main stuff for the main bus might start down here. I don't know, but we do need to leave room for smelters. You know, worst case scenario, I can move these up, I suppose. I just kind of wanted straight-ish lines coming here. I probably should have moved these up. Oh well. So I'm trying to just get enough stuff here to combine these. So if we, out of curiosity, this is 8 long, right? If we went another 8, 16, I want to see how much room I would have for building stuff. Not a lot. I would need to build mostly on the left, which is okay. We'll figure it out. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to split or compress these two lines into one. And now the reason this is only on one side is obviously because these second 4 are not working. But that's fine because when we split or compress it, it's going to put it on both sides of the belt, since we're taking 2 one-sided belts and going into one. And what I like here is this actually fits perfectly, nice and symmetrical, as you can see. And here we go. And then we're just going to do the same thing here. Going to try to match this. So this setup, probably not the most efficient. I do want to try different stuff though. That's the thing. I would like to try some new setups in this series, because I've kind of done the same ones like over and over and over, and I want to try some new stuff. So we have iron, we have copper. I don't think it particularly matters which one like is bottom and which one is top, really, because with the main belts we're just going to be passing them like over and under each other anyway. So we'll just kind of go with this theme rather than crossing the copper over. We'll just bring it down. I'm going to come over kind of this way a little bit, and we will certainly have to modify things as we go. You know, because when we expand stuff, we'll have to move these lines over to begin with, or sorry, not to begin with, like at the beginning here, which really is not that big of a deal. Actually, I think this is pretty good placement, to be honest with you. Now, I could put 4 lines here preemptively, but again, I think it's perfectly fine if we just kind of move stuff later. I'll have to purge the lines, which, well, no, I really should. I really should plan this out. Otherwise, we're gonna end up with another Bob's Mods factory here, guys. So, try to use the full underground. I do want to try to be somewhat efficient in this factory. I'm usually not, and I do want to be. So what we're gonna do is gonna pull this guy back. So if we have, let's see. So we have 4 lines of copper. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 2 spaces, right, for undergrounds. 1, 2, 3, 4 of iron. And obviously, we'll have more lines, but those won't be here. So this lake will not be a problem. I think this is probably the best way, just to kind of plan it out ahead of time. And we're going to start on science. So I've been thinking about this. And essentially, this is the same recipe as an iron gear wheel. As you can see, 2 iron, and you get 1 product. The difference being is it takes pretty much, it's like 0.1 seconds off, because for some reason the developer set it to 1.24 rather than 1.25, but it's essentially 2.5 times slower. An iron gear takes half second. This takes, we'll just round up and say 1.5 seconds, which is 2.5 times faster, right? Or is that 3? Not 2.5, sorry. 1.25 seconds, which is 2.5 times slower. So yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this. Can't think, guys. All right, so the thing here, though, that we need to keep in mind is that, damn it all to hell, is that this doesn't replace iron gear wheels, right? It replaces it as far as science goes, but what the mod does is it just overhauls science. So gear wheels are still going to be needed in tons of other stuff, right? They're still going to be needed in belts and underground belts and inserters and all that stuff, right? The only difference being is that inserters and stuff aren't used in science now. And you know, same goes for these things. These kind of replace the copper demand, thick copper part for this. But we still obviously need copper cable in normal circuits, which may not be used in this recipe. We still need normal circuits, obviously, for anything else that uses normal circuits. So we just have to keep that in mind when doing this, to not get into the mindset that by building these other things, we're like taking care of the iron gear wheel department, because that's certainly not the case. So let's start here. Smelting. I mean, we have an infinite map. There's really nothing in the way. This oil kind of is. I could go around it. There's a base. No big deal. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it on the safe side, and we're just going to bring the bus really far down before we actually start it. Potentially a waste of belts, but I don't know, because we do want room for smelting. Hopefully, I could move these, but that's a pain until we get robots. We essentially want room for 8 of these, which would be 4 times this amount. So if I kind of measure this out a little bit, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So right about here is about where the smelting's going to come down to, I think. I mean, I'm just very, very roughly guessing. And something else about this that I didn't really notice, believe it or not, until when I did this work off screen, is I really noticed how small our starting patches actually are because of the train outpost mod. So I think what's going to have to happen in this playthrough, which will be pretty interesting because I've never done it this way, is aside from like you know, like turrets and maybe automation 2 and that stuff, we're pretty much going to have to rush trains, right? Because it's not really ideal to be belting. Well, I mean, we could belt stuff from here over. For my CPU, it's not very good. But we're going to pretty much have to rush trains because these patches are so tiny. That, I mean, you can see, this is all we're smelting right now. I can add more miners, And really what we're going to have to do is pack them in as tightly as we possibly can. The one advantage here is that since the resources never actually run out, they won't be producing very optimally. But since they never run out, we can just pack them in all the way and never worry about the patch completely running out like super quickly, right? It'll always be producing something, even if it's pretty crap. So let's just do this. I didn't throw down a radar. We do have a base down here. It is definitely not in our pollution range, which is a very good thing. Right, so I think that's about enough room, right? I'm measuring with my finger here. So there's 1, here's 2, 4, 6. Well, that's really not, but by the time that we actually need 4, because if you add in steel furnaces and stuff, by the time we actually need 4 of each, I think we can easily move them. We'll have robots and stuff. So we'll start, pull this up a little bit. We're getting kind of far down here. We'll start the bus here, right? And remember, again, there's going to be 4 lines of copper here and 4 lines of iron here, and then we'll start whatever else. Room for undergrounds. Okay, so let's bring these over. We need to start red science. So we need electromagnetic cores and electromagnetic coils. So these just take 2 iron. Again, same ratio as gear wheels. They just take 2.5 times as long, which is pretty slow. And then these guys need 4 copper. They take 5 seconds essentially. I don't know why these times are kind of weird. I'm just going to round up. But I mean, you do get 8 of them, right? So, and this only needs 2. So let's calculate, right? So per cycle of this, so if we had 1 assembling machine producing these, per cycle, we'd get 8. And these need 2, so that would give us 4 sacrificial electromagnetic. That's what this is called. And this is sacrificial Atmos set. Okay, so I do like the description. It's perhaps a little more realistic than the vanilla. Used by lab for adapting technology to the local environment. This electromagnetic is destroyed during use but allows for intricate electromagnetic experiments. Okay, so 4 to 1 to 1, as you can see right there. So we can get 4 of these dudes per cycle of this, and then we can get 1 per cycle of this. So it actually tells you, which is pretty nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and split this guy off. And I'm going to make more belts preemptively because we're going to need them. Got to need some factories. Copper, I think I actually want to make the other things first now that I think about it, the metal things. So I'm going to split this here. I'm going to need to build some paths because yeah, I'm going to need to build some path. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make it so it can be a 4 wide path if possible, because once we get some brick, I'm going to build a path here. I may have to move this underground, which is fine. Okay, so this guy's going to come here, and we're going to so these take 5 seconds. Essentially, we would want, because if we build in the same ratio that I normally would, 5 science pack factories for these, so we get about 1 a second. And these take 5 seconds. So actually, wait. So in the time that it takes to make 1 of these, we can essentially make, what, 4 of these? Because 1.5 plus 1.5 is, or 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2.5 times 2 is 5. So we can make 4 of these in the time it takes to make 1 of those. So the ratio actually I don't think is perfect. Because if I did 2 factories, that would mean we could essentially make 8 of these. But we need 2 because otherwise it's 4 and I want to build 5. I'm just going to do 2. Again, because these are just needed for science. This is not needed for inserters or belts or anything else. So we do have to keep that in mind and remember that we need gear wheels as well. So you are going to make these. And actually, what I'm going to do is, because this stuff is only needed for science, what's going to happen is I'm actually going to build science off this way somewhere, and I'm going to run these things this way. So like when I build gear wheels, I'm probably going to put gear wheels on the bus. Same with circuits, right? Normal circuits. So I would run those this way and actually put them on the bus like over here. But these guys don't need to be on the bus, right? They're only going to science. It would be a waste to put it on the bus. So I'm actually going to run them this way, and we're going to do all the science over here. So that's how I plan to get that to work. Normal inserters should be fine. They only take 2 iron, but they take 1.5 seconds. It's going to be a lot of power poles to get power down here because I've gone so far. Okay, so that's not needed. I know the graphics might be a little blurry. I think I need to turn my multi-sampling on in the config file. So I'm just kind of, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just running this up here. I guess we'll go this way. I do want to build as organized as possible. My organized will probably still be disorganized for a lot of you guys, but we'll see. Okay, so as you can see, the ore that we're producing right now is really bad. So we need to add some more miners. Power is fine. I'd actually like a radar as well. We're gonna need to start scouting. I should have probably done that sooner. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna pack these guys in here as tightly as I can. I could set this off even one more, but that's kind of pushing it. Yeah, I guess so. So we have 2, 4. That actually supports, if the ratio is somewhat similar, would support about 8. So can I like move this maybe? I don't really need that one overlapping. Am I stupid? Yeah, I am stupid. Derp. Okay, so those guys are going. Copper, I think we will, because those other things, these things do take a good bit of copper. We'll just throw a third one here. And actually, I do want to compress this a little bit. So that's enough theoretically for 6 furnaces, but I don't think that ratio is actually 100% correct right now. Power, again, is still fine. More than fine. We have a radar. I think up here would be kind of a good place. I'm going to throw... Well, I would throw some coal in there, if I had any. And yeah, probably within the next several episodes, I will start messaging some people to invite you guys into the series. Obviously not permanently, for an episode or two, to help out, speed things up a little, correct any inefficiencies, give suggestions, so on and so forth. I've written down a list of people who said they would like to join in the comments of the first video. If you didn't, get around to that, definitely let me know in the comments of this one. Again, well, I mean, if you already said it, no need to say it again. But if you haven't let me know yet, then go ahead and tell me if you would like to join. All that's really required is, I mean, at least enough knowledge of Factorio to be able to play fairly decently. Definitely don't have to be a pro. And be able to speak English fairly decently, just enough so that the viewers and myself can understand. But yeah, so again, what I want to do is I want to try to make a path here, which potentially won't work out too great. I think actually what I need, I place these wrong, right? Because if I want a path, because this will help me run back and forth a lot quicker. If I want a path, what I need is I need room for undergrounds here. Let's go ahead and make a few here. Right, so that gives room for that, and then we have our stone path, which we'll just do 4 wide. Right, was that not 4 wide? 1, 2, 3. It's not, because I ran out of stone. Okay, so how are we doing on time here? We're actually at 20 minutes, so I didn't quite get science done. Whoopsie. we're getting very close. I'll go for another minute or two here. Doesn't hurt to go a little bit over. So we have these guys. They're going to be coming this way, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to balance that belt out because I'm actually going to put these other copper things onto that side of the belt. Leave room for expansion if we need it. I'm going to side load. It's not a horrible thing. I mean, really, it's not that bad. Okay, so then we're going to bring copper down. God, I need so many belts. I need to automate belts like ASAP. I'll probably do some more work off screen in between episodes. It helps speed things up a bit. Even so, we didn't get quite as far as I would have liked. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, again, we figured that we get 8 of these per cycle, and they take about the same amount of time. So we can get 4 packs per cycle of this, but we're going to do 5. So 2 factories, again, is going to be overkill. I am aware of that, however, otherwise it's going to be too low if we only do 1 factory, because I do want to build 5 red science pack sacrificial thing factories. I'm not going to remember their exact name. I could actually just build it really close because we're not going to put them on this side, and gear wheels I'm going to do a little further down. So I could actually, I do want to leave some room. Always leave extra room. Even if you don't know what it's for, extra room is always great. It's an infinite map. Alright, so once I split this bad boy and set these up, we will be good to go. Okay, so do that. Do that. And again, this, well, it does make 8. So we may need double inserters, and once we get fast inserters to do this, I don't know if they can export 8 of them in the time it takes to make another one. I don't know the exact speed of inserters. So this does take 4 copper, but I believe in the time it's going to take to make one, this will stock up 4 again. Yeah, quite easily. So, in fact, it will probably just stack up double in that time. See, now here's the question though. Is this going to be able to export fast enough? Yep, okay. Wow, 5 seconds seems really slow. Like, it's slower than I think it is when I just think about it. Alright, so red science is good to go. I will set up all the red science stuff off screen because I'll probably have to do some fiddling. But here we go. Both of these are expandable. And again, both of these are a bit overkill for the amount of red science we're going to set up initially. We will expand it because I do want to do science fairly quickly. And remember that the science costs themselves are increased as well. So we might actually want to do more. We could, for sure. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed. I hope you look forward to this as much as I do. I think it's going to be great. Tons of trains. We're going to have to kind of rush them. It'll be super fun. So, until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care, guys.